Okay, welcome. Today we're going to be making what looks like quite a simple keyring, but actually introduces some fairly sophisticated tools to our armoury. I'm going to begin by creating a sketch, and I'm going to be placing that sketch on the bottom plane here. I'm going to draw a rectangle. I quite like the centre rectangle because it keeps everything nice and ordered in the centre. Now I'm going to pop in some dimensions, 60 millimeters, then using the tab button to lock that in, I'm going to say 30 millimeters as per my notes. Well, looking at my notes, I think that as a shape for a keyring doesn't quite look right. That's okay, we can change it. After reconsidering, I think 15 millimeters will suffice. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. That's an example of where I've had a little bit of a plan, but then when I've come to actually make the thing on CAD and I get an idea for the proportions, I've quickly realised 30 millimeters is a little bit too big. If it's not, we can change it later. It's not the end of the world, but I'm happy with 60 by 15. Happy with that, so I'm going to hit enter, and we've got a defined sketch there. It's fully closed. We know that because it's turned light blue. When it's light blue, it means we can extrude it. So we're going to hit E for extrude. E for extrude. Looking at my notes, I've said, hey, let's extrude that 15 millimeters. Now, this is amazing. That looks pretty blocky to me. So we're going to make some design decisions here. Are we going to keep it 15 or are we going to make it slightly thinner? Let's try 10. Maybe even slimmer, 7. Okay, that looks a bit better to me. So let's go with 7 millimeters. Again, deviating from my plan, but not to worry. Doesn't matter at all. I am the master and I can change this design as much as I want. So I've got the basis of my keyring. On my plan, I've put my name on there. So how do I write my name on this top face here? Well, like normal, I create a sketch. So I'm going to create a sketch on the top face. Excellent. I'm just going to turn around so I'm looking at it horizontally. I go to create. Now we've used the line tool a little bit. We've used the rectangle tool. We've used the circle tool. But we haven't used any of these tools. So I'm going to take you down to the text tool. Here is the text tool. What does the text tool do? Well, it allows us to write stuff. In much the same way the other tools work, a question box pops up here. I'm going to turn on caps lock and I'm going to pop my name in like so. I'm going to make the lettering slightly smaller, like so, 9 millimeters. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to hit enter. Now I want to reposition my name on here, so I'm going to hit M for move, and select my name, and I can just reposition it. There we go, and I'm happy with that. So I hit enter. Now, remember this is a sketch tool, so my name is still in 2D. What I want to do now is finish the sketch, and I want to go to create. Now I'm going to introduce a new tool now. It's called the emboss tool. You'll see what it does in a moment, the emboss tool. If you're unsure, hover over it and give it a read. It raises or recesses a sketch profile relative to faces on a solid body by a specified depth and direction. So let's see that in practice. So again, a question box pops up. Sketch profiles, well, I want to select my name on this occasion. And which face do I want to emboss my name into? Well, this top one here. There we go. You can quickly see that it's created a 2 millimeter emboss, or I could click deboss and it takes it inside the material there. What do I want to do? Well, why don't we keep it as a deboss and click OK. Wow, look at that. Amazing. Next, looking at my plans, I want to create the little hoop that will attach to the big stainless steel hoop that would then attach to your keys. And I want to draw somewhere in the middle of this face here. Now, that's going to be a little bit tricky because I want to draw horizontally, but there's nothing horizontal to draw on there. So I'm going to use the offset plane tool. Now I'm going to be creating my own plane that I can then create a sketch on in order to draw a 2D object. So I'm going to click create plane, and I'm going to use the bottom of our model as a point of reference. Now, do you remember how tall we made our initial body? I think it was 7mm. That looks about right. So half of 7 is 3.5. So we actually want to type in 3.5 there, rather minus 3.5, because we've placed we've used this sort of bottom edge as the reference point. The plane naturally wants to move beyond it, so we're going to have to put it minus 3.5. If we didn't, it would be 3.5 and it would be over there. We don't want that. We want it to be over here, so we just pop in the minus. That's okay. So we're minus 3.5. To me, that looks slap bang in the middle of our body, so I'm happy with that, and I'm going to click OK. Now, as ever, we're going to create a sketch. We're going to create that sketch on the new plane that we've just made. And now we are happily drawing away on this new plane, which is halfway up the body. And I'm going to create L for line. And I'm going to create a construction line, starting here, coming out about 6mm. Happy with that. I'm going to go C for circle, come out about 4, and then I'm going to go C for circle again, come out about 8. Now my circles will come out as construction lines, so I'm just going to select each line and turn it back into sort of a proper line, not a construction line, a proper line. There we go. I'm going to go L for line again. And actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to go O for offset. O for offset. That's a tool over in Modify. And what offset does is it allows you to create a parallel line or an offset line from an existing line. And I'm going to say I want a line 2mm from this central one here. And I'm going to do the same again, but this time -2. Happy with that. I'm going to stop these lines from being construction lines. Stop that from being a construction line. There we go. Now, I'm going to go L for line again and just close this shape here. We know it's closed when it turns. Oh, when it turns pale blue. But for some reason, it hasn't. Oh, why hasn't it? Well, because it's a construction line, and I don't want that. So I'm going to turn it into not a construction line. There we go. It is turned pale blue. Well, what can we do with this? We can go E for extrude. Profiles, where it wants us to say what we want to make 3D. We want to make that 3D, that 3D, and that 3D. Now, the direction is just wanting to go in one direction, but I actually want it to go symmetrically. And how thick do I want it? Well, not 3, maybe 1 millimeter, because you remember if it's going 1 millimeter down, because it's going in a symmetrical dimension or direction rather, the thickness of that hoop will actually be 2 millimeters. Operation join, yeah, happy with that. And there we go. We very quickly created a keyring with a hoop using the plane that we created to draw halfway up that body.